Okay, so we now have Kathy's saddle that she's been riding Christian in. So we're going to look at this saddle now and remember the points that Christian was doing to see if this saddle is good for him, to see if he likes it, to see if he prefers it or not. So we're going to look at the tops of his hips, and it looks to me like, oh, the whole thing just looks slower. It looks to me like the top of his left hip is higher, it's more accentuated than it was without the saddle. Can you guys see that? So what does that tell us if that's more accentuated? He's hollowing out the right side of his back. The left side is higher. And if that motion continues, he will have more of a tendency of going lame, just from that little motion. If you look at his hip angle, it was, does he have to pee? Or is he okay? If we look at his hip angle, it is big, little, big, little, big, little, big, little. Actually, it looks to me like, if I just have a first glance, first impression, he looks smaller in this saddle. It's almost like he's scrunching down. That would be my first, and that's a judgment. I don't know what you guys think about that.
His back doesn't look nearly as level with the rest of his body.
Okay, so if we look at his back, it looks more dropped.
One thing I look at, Michelle, see how the back of the saddle's sticking up?
Yes.
You know, just our way
Yes.
of looking at it, that's what we look for, is right here.
Yes. So does that tell you if the saddle's too small or too large?
It's just not conforming to his back.
It's not conforming to his back.
So
Yep.
like my saddle that I ride, and I can just, I set it on the horse's back and I can hear it.
Mm-hmm.
It sits right on his back, and when he turns and walks, it doesn't stick up like that.
Yep. So Christian's hind legs, if we go back to his hocks, his white hock was, if my memory serves me right, his white hock, white hind leg, his hock was twisting more than the left. And we're going to notice if that's the same, if it's worse, or if it's better. And it looks like it is doing it more to me. Yep, it's twisting a lot more. Okay, and then we're going to look at the length of his hind leg stride. And that still looks, the same to me. If anything is different, I'm noticing that where he's tracking to the outside of his front hoof prints, whereas before, oh, now it's to the inside. Whereas before, without the saddle on, he was at least tracking in line with his front hoof prints. So he's kind of all over the place. Nothing is really consistent with that. And then we're going to notice the front feet, and we're going to remember how he was swinging his front legs before. And it doesn't look as free to me. And then his head bobs. He's still bobbing. Actually, his ears are back more in the saddle as well. So his ears are looking like they're holding more tension to me too. So go ahead and ask him up in a trot, Kathy. So my very first impression was that he started off in the trot with his hind legs to the inside. And I don't remember him doing that without a saddle on his back.
Dragging his toes.
And he's dragging his toes. If we look to the top of his hips, the left one is still higher than the right one. His hip angle is still more open. His hocks quit twisting without a saddle on in trot. And they are still not twisting, but it doesn't look like he's moving them, closing them as much as what he was doing without the saddle on his back. The length of his hind leg stride still looks the same as he did without the saddle on. It was like, yep. The back part of the saddle, if we glance up to the back part of the saddle, his back looks dropped. His front legs again appear heavy, and his head and neck, he's starting to relax it more now, but it's more to catch his weight. Okay, so overall, I would say Christian does not move as good with the saddle on as he did without a saddle on. So go ahead and walk. And this would not be a saddle I would choose for Christian.